I had no idea what my personal clothing style was until after I had my second baby at 23 years old. I spent over a decade buying whatever looked good on the model or on the rack without even thinking about how it went with the rest of my wardrobe or with my lifestyle. I do not do this anymore though. I am now very selective in what I buy and what I make because I know what my style is and the kind of clothing that I want to have in my wardrobe. In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can get clarity on your clothing style so you can fill your wardrobe with pieces you reach for again and again and that fit your needs for your lifestyle. If you're new here, hello, my name is Rachel and I teach how to sew your own clothes as a beginner and also how to build a wardrobe you love that fits your clothing needs. So we're just gonna jump right in and start on the first step, and that is to analyze the clothes you already have in your closet. Pull everything out, go through it. You're not sorting out what you're keeping and getting rid of just yet. You're just going to go through and analyze each piece. What do you love about it? What don't you like about it? The pieces that you never really wear, why do you never really wear them? What about them just doesn't seem to work for you? You want to get a good idea of the pieces you love and why you love them, and the pieces you don't love as much and why you don't love them. You want to be very honest with yourself at this step and get a sticky note or your phone and write these things down so that you can keep them in mind for when you are shopping for clothing for your wardrobe later. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to create a clothing mood board. You could do this physically by printing off a bunch of pictures, or you could do this on Pinterest. This is the way I did it. It's just a little bit easier, but if you want to have some fun and do an actual physical mood board, go right ahead. If you're doing a physical board, you could look up brands that you love or go onto Pinterest and print off some stuff. If you're doing it all on Pinterest, you're going to create a new board and you're going to pick a category, say tops for example. You're going to pin anything that catches your eye, anything you like, and you're going to do this for pants, dresses, jackets. You're going to pick a bunch of categories and you're going to go through and pin a bunch of items. You don't have to pin a ton. You just want to have enough to be able to get a good idea of what your style is. The next step, once you've got a decent amount of photos on your board, if you want an actual number, I'd say 20 is probably a good number, which should be pretty easy if you're doing all the different categories. But the next step is clean up your clothing board. So to do this, you are going to not look at the board for a day or two. Come back to it in a couple days when you have fresh eyes and you're going to go through and look at it again. You're going to delete things that you originally pinned that suddenly you're not sure if you like them as much, or grab that sticky note or that note you put on your phone of things you don't like, pieces that just don't seem to work for you. And if you have any pieces like that on your board, delete them, take them off. Once this is done, we can move on to the next step, which is looking for similarities. Did you pin a lot of bright colors and fun patterns, or was it more neutral tones? Is there a certain pattern you seem to be drawn to, like florals? Do you like a kind of retro feel, or are your clothing pieces all very modern? Did you pin a lot of dresses or more pants? Go through and look for similarities. That's gonna give you a good idea of what your style is. When I did this, I noticed that I pinned a lot of dresses and they all had a sort of like cottagecore countryside feel to them. Same with any like pants or tops I pinned. They were not very modern. They were just, yeah, kind of like countryside cottagecore feel. Even though now you have a pretty good idea of what your style is based on the clothing board and the emerging style there, you do not want to delete this board because you are going to need it when you are building your wardrobe. You're going to reference it. So now that you've spent all this time finding your style and figuring it out, and now you're ready to build your wardrobe with this new style that you found, how do we actually do that? There are some things that you are going to want to avoid as you build your wardrobe. When you are out shopping or when you are making a piece for your wardrobe, you're going to want to ask yourself some questions. Questions like, does it fit with the other pieces in your wardrobe? Do you like it on you or just on the model or someone else you saw wearing it? Is it comfortable? Is it easy to throw on? Are you going to reach for it, or is it too complicated to put on? You're not really ever going to reach for it. Does it fit your lifestyle? These are important questions you're going to want to ask so that you don't make or buy anything you're going to regret down the road. For me, for example, I do not like to buy or make clothing that is too short above the knees. I do not like dresses or tops that have a really low neckline or really loose around the neckline, because I do not like having to put on things under what I'm wearing. It just makes my life more complicated, and I find I don't tend to reach for those pieces as much, except for this piece. This piece, I do have to wear something under it, and when I was making it, the plan was that it was not going to be like that, but it didn't turn out that way. I still love this piece though, but as a general rule, I do try to make pieces that are longer and that are higher in the neckline. Don't have to wear anything under them. I line them if needed, so I don't have to wear a slip or anything. I'm a mom of littles, and I'm constantly bending over and going down to my kids' level, and I don't want to be flashing anybody while I'm doing these things, while I'm living my life, and so I just don't want to deal with it. It's just easier for me if I can put something on and know that I'm going to be appropriate and modest no matter what happens. If you have any requirements like that, any things where you know you don't like layering, or you don't want to have to worry about it being see-through, or you like all these things, think about them and don't bring pieces into your wardrobe that go against those, unless you know you'll reach for it enough that it'll make it worth it. You want to really take your time and think about each piece before you make it or buy it. Instead of impulse purchasing and seeing something you like and buying it right away, can you sit on it for a little bit? I know this is hard if you're out shopping, but if you're planning a project or if you're shopping online, this is much easier. Add it to your cart or put it on your projects list and leave it for a couple days or a month. After all that time, if you find you're still thinking about it, you still think it would be perfect for your wardrobe, you can come up with multiple outfits for it, then it will probably work for your wardrobe, and it's probably something that you will reach for over and over again, and it's probably worth spending the time or the money on it. If after a few days you kind of forget about it, or you think, you know what, I don't know if it would really work, I can't think of a lot of outfits with it, leave it behind. Let it go. You're probably going to regret it later. Another thing you want to avoid is compromising on your style. Please do not go and buy something that is outside of the style you've discovered. You will probably not reach for it that often. There may be the occasional piece that doesn't fit with your style and you just love it, but that is likely the exception, not the rule. So you want to make sure you are not bringing in all these pieces just because you like the look of them on the model, on the shelf. You think they look nice, you like the fabric, but it doesn't really match with the rest of your wardrobe. You're gonna have a hard time making outfits. It's just gonna make getting yourself dressed more complicated than it needs to be. So avoid compromising as much as you can. Now, does this mean you can never buy or make anything that is outside the style that you just discovered on your Pinterest board or mood board that you created? No, your style may change over time. In 10, 20 years down the road, you may have a completely different style, and that's okay. Then it's time to go through and refresh and change things up. But while you're still enjoying the style that you have chosen, bringing other pieces in is not really going to help you with simplifying your wardrobe and building a cohesive wardrobe. The last thing you want to avoid is rushing to build your wardrobe. Take your time, enjoy the process. I know how tempting it can be to just want to quickly build your wardrobe, have it full of all these pieces that you love that fit your lifestyle and your needs, like the perfect wardrobe. Building it quickly, you're more likely to bring in things that don't really belong there and that you're going to end up tossing later. Take your time, enjoy the process, enjoy slowly sourcing those pieces that really serve you and your clothing needs, that fit your lifestyle, and that really bring you joy, that you reach for over and over again. This is something that takes intentionality, but it is so worth it in the end. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. If you tried using this method to find your style, I'd love to hear in the comments down below what you found your style is. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.